Hello and welcome to UC Today. I'm Tom Wright and I'm delighted to be joined by Mike from Akkadian Labs. How's it going, Mike?
Very good, Tom. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And we're going to be talking about automated provisioning today. But just to get started, could you give us an overview of your role at Acadian, please?
Sure, Tom. Despite my title, which is the technical product manager, I'm actually more of a jack of all trades here at Acadian. On any given day, I might be doing some engineering, might be doing some quality assurance work, rolling out products to partners. I also do webinars and pre-sales. I am literally doing everything. So it makes for an interesting day. So I've been with Acadian for about 2.5 years. But before that, I've worked in the unified communications industry for well over 20 years. So prior to Acadian, I worked as an engineer for a large system integrator, and I focused on helping our enterprise customers deploy Cisco collaboration. In this role, I witnessed firsthand the challenges enterprises were having with all repetitive, manual, error-prone work necessary to manage their complex unified communications platform. So I was excited to join Acadian, who are the leading unified communications technologies solution developers. Akkadian Labs is a Cisco preferred solution partner, and our flagship product, which is called Acadian Provisioning Manager, helps organizations across all industries streamline and automate management of their unified communications platforms. We fit into the service management category that you see today would call us. We've been around since around 2013, and historically we focused on Cisco Unified Communications, but we recently launched support for Microsoft Teams as well. So that's very exciting for our customers.
And so obviously it's, as one would expect, you are a bit of an expert in the automated provisioning space. But I would imagine, given your your history in the UC world, you've also felt some of the pain of maybe not having automated provisioning in an organization.
Yes, I sure have. There are a myriad of challenges that UC engineers face today. Medium to large size enterprises are constantly hiring new employees. Some employees are leaving, others might change their roles and move on from one office to location to another. These ongoing moves, adds, changes, and deletes, also known as MACDs, are often a headache for UC engineers because they involve a lot of repetitive, manual, and error-prone tasks. So Acadian Provisioning Manager is designed to simplify these tasks. In addition to eliminating the manual work, a provisioning automation solution will also provide higher level of security, helping both avoid intentional and unintentional disruptions, and having a layer of structured middleware with a preset workflow situated between error-prone operators and a complex UC platform. It mitigates the risks inherent in repetitive manual work. So another challenge we help engineers with is improving service levels, making for a better end user experience. Templates that quickly, accurately, and consistently deploy UC applications to employees speeds up the onboarding process, for instance, and facilitates the adoption of collaboration applications, which are more critical than ever in promoting organizational effectiveness. So given the trend to work from home and remote working situations, we definitely have a product that's very useful. We should also note that as with many automation projects, it makes the UC engineer more productive. So when we add automation, an engineer might typically take 30 minutes, which 30 minutes to onboard a user. And with our product, we can actually do it in probably under 30 seconds. So this frees up the engineer to work on, higher value projects and more important use of their time. So to put a fine point on it, there are powerful ROIs, I guess, returns on investment for UC provisioning automation solutions. Finally, there are human resources issues to consider. So in today's job market, where it is difficult to hire qualified UC engineers, or pretty much anybody now, it is important recruiting. It's an important recruiting tool to offer an environment where there is minimal repetitive manual work, and that way the engineers can focus on higher value project work.
So let's imagine then that you're having a conversation with an IT professional or UC professional, and their business has no automated provisioning whatsoever. What kind of advice would you give them in terms of taking the first steps towards bringing some of this technology on board?
Well, the high level message we typically give to UC teams that are interested in overcoming the pain of manual provisioning is to think of it as a journey, not as an all or nothing one time project. So you don't have to go from an entirely manual process to full automation in one fell swoop. You can start small, get some wins, and then continue moving from the basics to more sophisticated levels of automation. So we're going to bring up an infographic, and the infographic shows the various steps that organizations can take, starting with cross-application workflows and moving up the ladder to eventually achieving the full cycle zero-touch provisioning. So there are many steps along the way. Two things to keep in mind here, though. Number one, not every step needs to be implemented before moving on to a higher step. We often help our customers implement the offloading of simple MACD work to a help desk or operations teams early in the journey. It just depends on what makes sense for the culture and challenges of the organization. Number two, there is no specific order to these steps, but in general, each step decreases the workload of the UC team while providing increasing value to the end users and the organization. So in terms of streamlining the process, we'll do what makes sense to your organization. The first step we commonly see developed are cross-application workflows. As you know, unified communications is not just one application. It is composed of several distinct software systems: phone, voicemail, messaging, teleconferencing, and more. There are huge time savings with a single pane of glass that integrates with all those applications to eliminate the need to sign into each application, rekey a lot of the same data over and over again. As I mentioned before, the automation can help complete a 30-minute task in less than 30 seconds. So the time and cost saving benefits from this single pane of glass approach grow exponentially for large global enterprises that have multiple servers and clusters across the world.
Okay, let's stay with this theme now. Let's go from, let's say the business has done the initial stages, they're on board in certain aspects, but they want to go to, I suppose, a moderate level or a middle ground there. What are the next steps they take just to build on some of the early progress they would have made at this point?
So there's bulk provisioning, there's employee self-service, and then offloading work to a help desk. These are all typically the next stage. So let's start with bulk provisioning. A bulk provisioning feature enables administrators to easily create and delete multiple users and devices from a single file with no scripting necessary. This significantly reduces the time and effort that would otherwise be required, and it's an ideal tool for boosting productivity. There are many use cases where bulk provisioning can make a big impact. Batch processing new hires or separations, rolling out work from home UC applications during a crisis like a global pandemic, like we just saw recently, automating an onboarding and offboarding of groups or of temporary or seasonal employees, migrating new users to Call Manager, Cisco Unified Call Manager following a company merger or an acquisition. So as you can see, there are numerous ways bulk provisioning can make your job easier. So next, employee self-service. Employee self-service or self-provisioning enables the worker to handle many of the administrative tasks within the UC system on his or her own without getting a help desk ticket or involving a UC engineer. This is particularly important when the UC team is overworked and may not be able to respond immediately to end user requests. An out-of-box self-service portal that does not require a lot of configuration can be a big help. These portals typically allow the end user to adjust their UC settings, and the UC settings that are related to their, let's say, voicemail pin resets or call forwarding, single number reach, visual phone editing. And these are empowering the employees to make changes to their UC, their unified communications, and is a great way to improve the user satisfaction. And finally, offloading work to the help desk. Offloading work to an operations team or service desk is one of our most highly requested capabilities from people we talk to. A role-based Access module is critical to implementing this effectively. It allows the engineering team to decide who has access to which provisioning jobs and to which tasks, and ensures that they're implemented consistently. So operations teams are generally organized either by location, where certain personnel are responsible for certain office locations, or by function, where one team might handle the onboarding while other teams might handle offboarding. Again, our customers have seen a high return on investment from delegating the more routine tasks to their operations teams.
And then my final question for you, Mike, and I suppose this is really the pinnacle of automated provisioning. Talk me through what would come in the final stage if the business is really going all in with this technology.
So what we call the Holy Grail of UC provisioning automation is the full cycle zero-touch provisioning. So the goal is to completely eliminate any manual work by the UC team. This typically is done with integration with like Microsoft Active Directory or ServiceNow or some other IT service management platform. A provision automation solution can monitor Active Directory or ServiceNow, and when it identifies a new employee. For instance, it can build out the appropriate UC applications and devices in your UC platform and then notify the new employees that everything has been set up. To complete the cycle, it should then update the records in Active Directory or ServiceNow. All this can happen in real time and without any manual work from the IT team or the service desk. So this process has multiple benefits, including the elimination of manual work, better provisioning consistency with reduced errors, and improved communications with the UC end user. So Acadian Provisioning Manager features native integrations with both Active Directory and ServiceNow, making the implementation of full cycle zero-touch provisioning a breeze.
Okay, Mike, and that brings us to the end, but it's been really useful talking to you today, and I think it's going to be helpful for people to really talk them through the processes and understand how much is kind of encompassed or is built into this automated provisioning technology. So thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Tom.
Yeah, it's been great to have you. And thank you everyone for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give us a like and a share on social media, and we'll see you next time.